Hey folks, this is Kelani. BlizzCon is only a month away, so it's about time the virtual ticket reared its ugly head and offered up all manner of goodies to tempt you into a purchase. This year promises to be one of the most impactful BlizzCons we've had in a long time, or we might have in the future. Pretty much every Blizzard game will have some huge news, and World of Warcraft is no exception. They've been holding back a lot of info for this one, I can feel it. They even pulled out of Gamescom this year, probably because they either didn't have much to really say, or because they wanted to save it all to make their own convention the focal point of Blizzard news once again. Makes sense really, BlizzCon should be where all the magic happens. If they don't have anything to deliver at their own convention, people will stop showing up, which means people stop buying their tickets and ultimately less people will be hyped or excited for future Blizzard games. We can't have that now, can we? Let's have a look at what goodies you can get from the virtual ticket this year and highlight some of the changes they're making to the service. They might actually surprise you this time around. Let's start with the World of Warcraft stuff, because chances are that's what you care most about when clicking on this video. If you pick up the virtual ticket, or you're actually going to BlizzCon, you'll be able to get your hands on 2 new battle pets and a, let's just say, interesting transmog set. There's no mount this year, which is a bit of a disappointment, but the battle pets and the transmog set are actually kind of cool. The 2 pets are, of course, 2 new Murlocs to add to your collection. You get one for the Alliance and one for the Horde. If you play both factions, you get twice the fun. The Alliance Murloc is Finduin, obviously modelled after the fearless boy king Anduin, while the Horde Murloc is Gil'Vanus, modelled after the traitorous Banshee Queen Sylvanas. Each pet has a variety of abilities that speak to their individual role models, but they also have some unique animations for their resurrection abilities. Finduin reaches into the air with a holy glow around his little hand and summons a holy cascade, which looks pretty awesome, and is the exact animation that Anduin used in the Battle for Azeroth release cinematic. It's pretty fitting for a mass res ability, really, isn't it? Gil'Vanus has their own animation, which might also look pretty familiar. They turn into a banshee with shadows and tendrils, shoot up into the air, lets out a little scream and reses all allies as well. This animation was taken from the very same cinematic when Sylvanas goes a little gung-ho and takes out a good number of Alliance soldiers after going full Banshee mode. These pets can sometimes use these animations outside of combat, though it does seem very rare. I've been staring at them for a few hours now and I've only caught it once or twice, but having some unique combat animations is pretty neat too. They also have their own mini-pets that they will periodically summon. I think this part is the most hilarious thing I've seen from battle pets recently. Finduin will summon a little corgi called Genji, who is totally supposed to be a nod to Gen Greymane, the loyal dog of the king. And Gil'Vanus will summon a zombie called Kevanos, who is meant to be the devout champion of the Banshee Queen Nathanos. Having the pet summon a pet is cool, but for them to summon their mini lapdogs from this expansion is pretty hilarious to me. Now, the other special WoW reward you get with the virtual ticket is a new transmog set. This set kind of breaks all the rules when it comes to transmog, which makes me think that we'll probably see a lot of transmog restriction be lifted or relaxed a little bit in the future. Things like limiting holiday transmogs to just those holidays, or some silly transmogs that, quote-unquote, ruin immersion. I don't think there's anything more immersion breaking than seeing an entire army of alts running around in Yeti suits. What I do like about this Yeti suit is that it's not just a costume or a buff or something that you can only have on or off. These pieces are actual transmoggable pieces individually, so you can use as much as the outfit as you want, and you can incorporate pieces that you like into other sets if you really want to. I think that's brilliant. Of course, the entire suit works pretty well by itself, and I'm sure Goldshire is about to get a whole lot weirder on you-know-which servers, but I think fun transmog like this can be good for the game. We could see various other themes in the future, which is kind of exciting. Part of me does worry that this is the first step towards introducing more items like this into the cash store, though. We started with mounts, pets, and services. Level boosts were added to that list, which were pretty controversial at the time, and now we have the WoW token as well. Transmog and other cosmetic items, sets or costumes aren't really too far behind, especially when they start introducing full sets of transmog like the Yeti costume that you can get from the virtual ticket. I don't want to see more content locked behind the cash store, whether it's minor things or not. Every mount added to the cash store is another mount you can't get in-game. If transmog sets make their way into the store as well, that's just another set of something you won't be able to get by playing the game itself. It kind of cheapens the experience. Now, one very interesting little tidbit that comes along with the Yeti suit is Blizzard's description of it. Bundle up for your next trip to Azeroth's icy mountain peaks with the warm and whimsical Wendigo woolies. Now that could just be them being a bit cheeky about Yetis living in the mountains, or it could be a hint at where we're going next. Northrend, for example, is pretty cold, so I'm sure our characters would love some extra warmth from the Yeti onesie if we do end up venturing back to those frozen wastelands. With Sylvanas going rogue and her obsession with death, it's also not a massive overreach to wonder if she's going to try and become something like a Lich Queen. If she took control of the Scourge, she would be a force to be reckoned with, and we haven't heard from Bolvar in quite a while. So it might just be the right time for another Northrend expansion. We're probably looking a bit too much into it, but either way you can enjoy the comfort of a onesie in WoW now. Of course, there are other rewards for the other Blizzard games, which I'm sure a lot of you play as well. Overwatch gets 2 new skins, an ILLIDAN GENJI skin and a TYRANDE SYMMETRA skin. I think they did a pretty good job with these from what we can see, though locking more skins behind a paywall seems to be a pretty big issue over on the Overwatch subreddit. StarCraft gets some unit skins and player frames, Heroes of the Storm gets a new Celestial Crab mount thing, Diablo 3 gets some new wings that we don't know anything about, and Hearthstone gets a new card back and a mystery golden legendary card, which will probably be tied to something we'll see at BlizzCon. There are other rewards in store, but we'll have to wait to hear more about those. The BlizzCon ticket will set you back $50 this year, which is the same price as it was last year. Before that, I believe it was $40, so it looks like we're sticking to that increased price from here on out. I guess the only question left to ask yourself is $50 worth it? I've seen this discussion go back and forth a lot on various forums and on Reddit especially. Things like, 2 pets and a transmog set for $50? Really, Blizzard? They don't even have a mount this year. The same thing is happening over on Overwatch. They're locking 2 new legendary super cool skins behind a $50 paywall. Not cool, Blizzard. And while I do understand where these comments are coming from, it kind of depends on why you want to buy the ticket in the first place. If you don't care about actually watching BlizzCon and all you're looking at is the rewards for spending $50 on the ticket, then I guess yeah, the items and cosmetics probably aren't worth the price tag. It's also pretty frustrating that you won't have any other way to obtain these items, but I think that's not a very good way of looking at the virtual ticket. You're paying to have access to all of the panels at BlizzCon without having to attend the convention. The virtual ticket has been getting better and better each year, and now you can watch literally anything you want at any time without any real restriction. You can also go back and rewatch any of the VODs to catch up on anything you missed, or just to rewatch it to make sure you didn't miss any key details. You can even watch more than one panel at the same time if you want to, something convention attendees can't even do. If you think about the $50 paying for your access to the BlizzCon stream, and the various goodies that are just extras on top of that, it almost doesn't matter what's in the goodie bag because it's all free. But if you're just focused on the special items, I'd kind of question why you'd want to buy the ticket in the first place. As a quick side note, it looks like you might not have to buy the ticket this year depending on what you want to watch. They're opening up some extra panels for free viewing this year. Usually you can watch the opening ceremony and all of the esports stuff without having to buy a ticket at all. That includes the Overwatch World Cup, the WoW Arena Championships, the WoW Mythic Dungeon Invitational, the Hearthstone Global Finals and the StarCraft 2 Championship. Oh boy, we've got a lot of esports now, don't we? That's already quite a few freebies, but this year you can also watch some of the main BlizzCon panel stages for free as well. We're not sure which panels exactly or which presentations will be available, but anything on that stage is still more than what we got last year. If you're just interested in the big announcements, you probably won't have to buy a ticket at all. I think the main reason to pick up a virtual ticket would be to watch anything and everything on offer from the convention. All of the side panels, all of the interviews, access to the VODs, the various contests that are always there each year, and of course the closing ceremony. The rest is just the icing on the cake. It's also pretty awesome seeing all of the announcements as they happen, as opposed to watching for updates on a text-based website like Reddit or Wowhead. Seeing it happen live and seeing the crowd's reaction is always super awesome, and you don't have to wait for someone to re-upload the content on a YouTube channel or whatever else. It's a very different experience reading that WoW is announcing a new expansion and seeing the cinematic that announces it for you. And with this BlizzCon, I expect to see a lot of announcements. We'll find out what happens next in BFA, if anything. We're sure to see what the next expansion is all about and where our adventures take us next. We might find out more about classic World of Warcraft, how that's going to progress, when we might see the next phases, and maybe even something about the future of classic servers. Overwatch has been rumoured to have another game in the works, Hearthstone will probably have an expansion announced, Diablo Immortal was kind of MIA since its announcement, so we might see the release of that particular project. Diablo has a whole bunch of other stuff in the works too, like a potential Netflix series and of course the much anticipated Diablo 4. With how badly last year's announcements went, I fully expect Diablo 4 will come out guns blazing this year to recapture some of the lost faith from last BlizzCon. I honestly can't wait for next month. So there's some cool goodies on offer this year for the BlizzCon virtual ticket, and tickets are now available. I kind of wish we were going in person. I really do think this BlizzCon is going to be one to remember, but well, maybe next year. What do you think about the BlizzCon virtual ticket? Do you think everything on the livestream should be available for free, or are you okay with the current ticket prices? How do you feel about the various goodies being locked behind a ticket? Should they be available from some other sources at the same time? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.